My best friend died at 54. His name was Mark. When people talk about his death, they call it sudden, unexpected, one of those things no one could have seen coming. But when I look back now, it doesn't feel sudden at all. It feels quiet, like something that had been building for years while no one wanted to look too closely. Mark and I met in our early 20s. First job out of school, same office, same long hours. We were young, ambitious, and convinced that working hard meant we were doing life the right way. Mark was dependable in a way people admired, always on time, always prepared, always willing to stay late. He never said no, not to deadlines, not to pressure, not to responsibility. He wore exhaustion like proof that he mattered. We used to joke about it. I'd ask him when he was going to slow down. He'd smile and say, "After this project," or "next year," or "when things calm down." They never did. We talked about doing things together. Not big things, just simple ones. A road trip with no plan, a fishing weekend, a few days somewhere quiet where no one needed anything from us. We talked about it for years. We never did any of it. There was always work, always another deadline, always something that felt urgent enough to postpone everything else. Mark believed responsibility was love. He believed providing was enough. He believed rest was something you earned once everything important was finished. And I believed him, because I lived the same way. The last time I saw him, we were standing in a parking lot after work. It was late, dark, cold. He looked older than I remembered. Not sick, just worn down. I said, "We should really do that trip. Just once." He nodded and said, "Yeah, soon." 2 weeks later, he had a heart attack at his desk. 54 years old, mid-sentence, computer still on. At his funeral, people talked about his dedication, his work ethic, how reliable he was. No one talked about stories, trips, memories, because there weren't many. After the funeral, life didn't change the way movies make you think it does. There was no dramatic shift, no sudden clarity. I still went to work the next morning. I still answered emails. I still followed the same routine. That's what disturbed me the most. Even death didn't interrupt the machine. Weeks passed, then months. His desk was cleared, his job title reassigned. His name slowly stopped coming up. He became something people referred to in the past tense, then not at all. But he stayed with me, not as a memory of him, but as a question I couldn't stop asking myself. I started noticing things I had trained myself not to see. How often I stayed late with no real reason. How many evenings I came home too tired to do anything except recover enough to work again the next day. How weekends felt like preparation for Monday instead of something meant to be lived. I realized how much of my identity depended on being busy. If I wasn't working, I didn't know who I was supposed to be. That scared me more than his death, because it meant I wasn't just sacrificing time. I was avoiding myself. Work gave me structure. It gave me rules. It gave me a place where effort always made sense. Life outside of it was messier, harder to explain, easier to delay. I told myself I was being practical, responsible, mature. What I see now is that I was hiding behind obligation, hiding behind deadlines, hiding behind the idea that there would be time later to figure out what I actually wanted. Later never asks your permission when it leaves. After he died, something shifted in me that I didn't expect. Not fear, not panic, recognition. Watching Mark's life end forced me to look at my own without the excuses I'd been hiding behind. For years, I told myself I was being responsible, that showing up mattered more than enjoying myself. That sacrifice meant I was doing the right thing. But I realized I wasn't living that way because I had to. I was living that way because it felt safer. As long as I was busy, I didn't have to ask whether I was happy. As long as I was needed at work, I didn't have to notice where I was absent everywhere else. I kept telling myself I'd live later because later didn't demand courage yet. Later didn't require change. What I understand now is this: work didn't steal my life. I handed it over willingly, one reasonable decision at a time. No one stopped me, but no one forced me either. That's the part that stays with me. I wasn't trapped, I was comfortable. And comfort is dangerous because it feels like progress while nothing actually changes. Mark didn't die wishing he'd worked more. He died having barely touched the life he kept postponing. I miss my friend. I miss the trips we never took, the conversations we never had, the version of ourselves we kept promising we'd become. And I live with the knowledge that the warning came too late for him. It doesn't have to be too late for you.